Why has the Israel-Palestine conflict been one of the most enduring and contentious disputes in the world? This question gives rise to a complex tapestry of historical, religious, and political threads that weave together the story of the Israel-Palestine conflict. It's a story that begins in antiquity, in the ancient lands of the Middle East, where Jews and Arabs have lived together, and at odds, for centuries. At the heart of this struggle lies the city of Jerusalem, a place of profound spiritual importance to both groups and a symbol of their national identities. The roots of this conflict burrow deep into the soil of history, nourished by a potent mix of religious significance and nationalistic fervor. This is not a simple tale of two nations at war, but a multifaceted narrative of identity, faith, and the quest for a homeland. To understand the current situation, we must delve into the past, to the birth of the conflict. The modern Israel-Palestine conflict began in earnest with the Balfour Declaration of 1917. This was a letter from Britain's Foreign Secretary, Arthur Balfour, to Lord Rothschild, a leader of the British Jewish community. It expressed British support for a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. Soon after, Britain received a mandate from the League of Nations to administer Palestine. During this British mandate period, tensions heightened between Jewish immigrants and native Palestinians. Jewish immigration increased massively as Jews sought refuge from persecution in Europe, particularly during the Holocaust. This influx led to increased competition for land and resources, fueling resentment and escalating violence. The British, unable to control the turmoil, decided to withdraw in 1947. They handed the issue over to the United Nations, which proposed a partition plan for Jewish and Arab states. However, the proposal was met with resistance from both sides. As British control ended, the United Nations stepped in, setting the stage for further conflict. In 1947, the United Nations proposed a partition plan, which was met with resistance and led to the 1948 war. This plan aimed to divide Palestine, then under British control, into separate Jewish and Arab states. Jerusalem, a city sacred to both Jews and Arabs, was to be placed under international administration. However, Arab nations vehemently rejected this partition plan, viewing it as an infringement on the rights of the majority Arab population. This rejection sparked the 1948 war, or the War of Independence as it's known in Israel. This conflict led to the establishment of the State of Israel, a momentous event in Jewish history. But for Palestinians, it marked the beginning of the Nakba, or catastrophe, resulting in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from their homes. The 1948 war ended with an uneasy armistice, but the seeds of further conflict were already sown. This marked only the beginning of the long-standing and complex Israel-Palestine conflict that continues to this day. Fast forward to 1967, and tensions escalated into the Six-Day War, a pivotal moment in the Israel-Palestine conflict. This period of intense fighting was short, but significantly reshaped the landscape of the Middle East. The Six-Day War was sparked by a series of geopolitical tensions, with the immediate cause being Egypt's closure of the Straits of Tiran to Israeli shipping. This act, coupled with the mobilization of Arab forces along borders, led Israel to launch a preemptive strike on Egypt, Syria, and Jordan. In just 6 days, Israel emerged victorious, more than tripling its size by occupying the West Bank, Gaza Strip, Sinai Peninsula, and Golan Heights. This swift occupation had profound consequences. For Palestinians living in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, their lives were dramatically altered. They found themselves under military rule, faced restrictions on their movement, and endured economic hardships. The occupation led to an increase in settlement construction by Israel, a move viewed by many Palestinians and much of the international community as an infringement on Palestinian rights and a violation of international law. The international response to the Six-Day War and its aftermath was mixed. While some countries applauded Israel's strategic victory, others condemned the occupation. The United Nations Security Council passed Resolution 242, calling for Israeli withdrawal from occupied territories and recognizing the right of all states in the region to live in peace within secure and recognized boundaries. However, interpretations of this resolution have varied, and its implementation remains a contentious issue. It's essential to understand that this occupation, born out of the Six-Day War, continues to shape the Israel-Palestine conflict. It's not just about land, It's about the lives of millions of people who call this region home. It's about their hopes, their fears, their dreams, and their rights. This occupation continues to be a major point of contention in the conflict today. It's a complex and deeply rooted issue that continues to demand our attention and understanding. In the decades since the Six-Day War, there have been numerous attempts at peace and just as many flare-ups of violence. The complex tapestry of the Israel-Palestine conflict continued to unravel, with key events shaping the narrative. In the early 90s, hope sparked with the Oslo Accords. Here was a series of agreements aimed at achieving peace, marking the first-ever direct, face-to-face agreement between Israel and political representatives of Palestinians. However, the accords fell short of addressing the major contentious issues: the status of Jerusalem, the right of return for Palestinian refugees, and the borders of the future Palestinian state. Then, at the dawn of the new millennium, the Second Intifada erupted. This was a period of intensified Israeli-Palestinian violence. The peace process that seemed promising suddenly found itself in a downward spiral, sowing seeds of mistrust and hostility. Fast forward to the present day, we find ourselves facing a landscape fraught with recent tensions. Unresolved issues, such as the Israeli settlements in the West Bank, the borders that have yet to be definitively drawn, and the status of Jerusalem, continue to fuel the conflict. These problems are not simply lines on a map or bricks in a wall. They represent deeply rooted beliefs, fears, and aspirations of the people on both sides. The current situation is a complex jigsaw puzzle. Each piece, whether it's a settlement, a border, or a holy site, is filled with historical, political, and religious significance. Every move, every negotiation, every confrontation is a careful dance around these intricately connected pieces. While the path to peace remains fraught with obstacles, understanding the history of the Israel-Palestine conflict is a crucial step towards finding a resolution. The narrative we've traced, from the early 20th century to the present day, is not just a series of events. It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in its quest for justice, dignity, and peace.